afternoon, Nigerians. It's another episode of Hope Alive on Obidati Family TV, and you are very much welcome. We don't say the case don't they go on for courts and tribunal don't they sit. In fact, today na the number 3 day, the 3rd day of the case hearing, and as we know, say now our principal Labour Party day for court today, and na their case that they look out today. And anyways, I talked before for this platform, say PDP requested for to be allowed to broadcast the case hearing and everything on live TV, but they were initially rejected. But yesterday during the tribunal sitting, the Justice Haruna talk say they go consider whether they go actually allow them to televise the proceedings after they don't hear from the other parties. So now they wait for their consideration whether they go say yes or they go still go on to they say no. And there were still reports that the APC and INEC that they were in opposition to this particular notion of televising the whole thing, because they wonder why they make they run from allowing people to televise that particular proceeding. We want to know what is going on there. So why go talk say no, no one make we televise them. Now waiting we see they look at. And anyways, for today, we go see say the Court of Appeal, the Supreme Court actually don't confirm our position. You know, say we don't talk since say this BVAS now very important something to declaring the winner of an election. So the Court of Appeal don't confirm this particular thing where we they talk say this obi position where we they talk say now BVAS you go take see everything will happen and announce your winner. And now waiting happen for this Osun State governorship election and the case where they take to court. We see say after every way happen, the Supreme Court can announce Adeleke as the winner of the election as against Oyetola. So now this BVAS now they take announce that particular winner. So now waiting we go take relate them to this particular case where they go on for P2B and Tinubu. But as we go into the video, we go talk more on that particular matter. My name is Peace Obiekwe, and I did here with Mr. Kanu. Mr. Kanu, you are welcome.
Yeah, Peace, thank you for bringing all those things, our highlights up. Today our people, now welcome to Wednesday. Today, P2B go day court. And we are very happy, very happy, because our position is becoming clear. And that's why if you see our headline, you will like it, because that's when we don't shout every day. Supreme Court yesterday don't make our mind the tutorials, because it be like say for the first time in Nigeria, something good is about to happen, because ona go hear am now. First, make I just before I forget, make I introduce Dr. Telbert, who will follow us today for this very show. Dr. Telbert, welcome to the show.
And people agree to how we did today.
Okay, now we'll go direct for waiting to happen for Supreme Court. Yesterday, Supreme Court overruled the election petition tribunal verdict on Oyetola. It is a popular case where the tribunal sacked Adeleke, Governor Adeleke, and he appealed. Now, I don't want that to take much of our time, but I will want us to hear what the pronouncement of the Supreme Court is as at yesterday, and how it's affecting the matters of today, matters for tribunal today. So the judges waiting for this tribunal will see the body language from the Supreme Court, and then go do waiting be just. First, make we start with waiting happen from Supreme Court. As lawyer, just take just very few seconds. Let's just listen to it. Then we proceed immediately.
From the tribunal and presented evidence that the petition was not what being presented. And the tribunal ignored justice and delivered what cannot pass for a judgment. Today, the Supreme Court has said there is no scintilla of merit. No scintilla of merit. What a sad day for that tribunal.
Wow.
Now, the Supreme Court has, through this case, settled a lot of issues that will come before ongoing tribunals and courts. And that was why, as INEC, we tendered the BVAS machines for the first time in Nigeria. So that today, that is the way to go. The Supreme Court has done what they have been established for. Doing justice, both according to law and justice of the law. There is peace in Osun. There will be peace in Nigeria.
Amen.
If other tribunals and courts will follow the spirit and the principles enunciated now by the Supreme Court. God bless you.
Amen. Thank you. Distinguish. Allow us to go. Allow us to go. Distinguish. Allow us to go.
Dr. Telbert, you see, as it take happen and as they take explain them, the thing where they sweet me for this very judgment, if you read some part of that very judgment delivered, or the person who brought about this, Emmanuel Ajim, who read the judgment, he said that the former governor and his party, that is the Ayatollah, failed to tender relevant materials such as the BVAS from the 744 polling units in the state. Then INEC voters register or Form EC8A form showing the number of votes cast at each unit. Now, what this thing has brought, like this lawyer rightfully says, is that you need to tender BVAS in evidence. He said it is glaring that the appellant did not provide in evidence any BVAS, but sought to prove overvoting by means of a report of examination of INEC's database or back-end server. So in other words, they are saying, even if you are looking at the INEC database or the back-end server, is not enough. It is not enough. Let me hear from you, Dr. Ethelbert.
Yeah, I believe that, especially like the case in Osun State, APC was claiming overvoting, and they said the burden of proof is on the person who is alleging to present evidence to prove that beyond reasonable doubt there was overvoting. So how do you establish overvoting? First and foremost, you need to show the number of people that was accredited. If the people that voted exceed the number of people that were accredited, then there is overvoting. Yes, we know that there is a physical voters register, but even at that, it does not hold much water, because that's what they used to rig election before. They go and concoct results based on the number of people that is on the register. But now, the BVAS has to accredit people. So, if indeed I have a case of overvoting and I am not able to establish that the number of people accredited is lesser than the number of people that voted, I have not made my case. And that is actually what the court held, even in the appeal court and in the Supreme Court. I remember following the tribunal at the lowest level, where they were saying that the information that APC brought is not in tandem with what that BVAS record is showing. So I agree with Supreme Court, but maybe as we go forward, I also have a whole lot of concern regarding the whole decision, which is what it should be with respect to the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal. I have a lot of concern. I've shared some with you, and maybe as the time goes forward, I'll bring it up, because you do know that I believe, sincerely speaking, that there is a connivance between INEC and APC in this presidential election, that even though BVAS may have accredited voters, they could still go on to manipulate the outcome. And I have my own opinion towards that. For instance, if in your polling unit where you voted, say 1,000 people were accredited by BVAS, so BVAS had that information, and then elections started, and maybe really 1,000 people that were accredited voted. And just before they finish voting, some thugs come with police van being supervised by policemen and carted away the ballot boxes and took it to an unknown destination. And later on, we saw results online published. How do you substantiate that? Because it was something that we know that happened all over Nigeria. It happened in Lagos State. It happened in Rivers State. It happened in Imo State. It happened across the nation. So what it means is that the BVAS record shows that 1,000 people voted. The result they probably published shows that 1,000 people voted. But it was not the true reflection of what happened, because they took that machine away, holding the accredited information, but manipulated the result to match it. It's like they had the result ahead of them and they're working the numbers to catch up with it. It's a concern we need to look into.
Okay, Dr. Talbot, there's something I want to bring to your attention on this Supreme Court ruling. The specifically was very, very clear on what happens between BVAS and the INEC server. Like, they described the results that came from BVAS to INEC server as something you may not rely on. Let me quote what was said from their from the judgment. They said, in quote, information at the back-end server might not be accurate because the BVAS might fail to transmit records for several reasons, including poor internet connection, loss of battery power, and failure of INEC officials to properly press the submit button, among others. And they also say that, so the database or any extract of it contains only what is transmitted from the BVAS to it, and therefore cannot be a complete and accurate record of information on the BVAS. What do you have to say to this?
I will say something by way of question. Can you hear me?
Yes, clearly.
Okay, so what I want to say by way of question now is this. By what you read here, does that mean that they need the physical BVAS machine? Because if what is exported from the BVAS to the cloud can be compromised, do they need the physical BVAS? If they need the physical BVAS, what becomes of the situation where we have found ourselves now, whereby the BVAS have been reconfigured because of ownership election? So the information that was contained on the BVAS are no longer there. They have to, the court will now be compelled to rely on information that has been translated to the cloud, which by what you say here is subject to being compromised.
Let me now answer you. They also answered that question. What they said, and I quote them, in light of the foregoing, I hold that it is the record in the BVAS in the BVAS machine of the accredited voters or a certified true copy of an INEC certificate of that record for each polling unit that can prove the number of accredited voters in a polling unit on the day of the election and nothing else.
Fine. So, which means what you're saying now is that so far as we talk, if INEC had brought themselves under the law and obeyed what the appeal court said, the court order from the appeal court said they should provide the parties that made petition the certified true copy of the content of the BVAS. So, number one question we need to ask ourselves, did INEC comply to this? If they did, good, because it means that the petitioners, the PDP and the Labour Party, as the case may be, have the content of what is in the BVAS, especially in terms of accreditation. But that has not answered my initial question, because my initial question borders on the fact that even though BVAS may have an accreditation record, based on what we witnessed in this election, there could be a manipulation of the result to match what is on the BVAS. You saw it in certain states of the Federation. You saw it in Lagos State. You saw it in Rivers State, for instance, where during the process of election, police vans came and carted away polling materials and ballot boxes, and they took them to somewhere where they said that a certain governor or a certain government official asked them to bring it. And they wrote the result. We saw video where people were thumbprinting ballot papers. And what they were doing is to vote one party to the extent that the number of votes they have on the ballot papers, which they will end up entering in EC8A, is equal to the number of accreditation. This question needs to be answered. Because if it is not answered, I tell you that INEC and APC could still corrupt the outcome. Yes, as you show in the video. Now, this thing they are doing here now, which EC8A form are they going to record it? And don't you see that they must by now have the answer that is in the BVAS accreditation before they start on printing to catch up with the number they want, the desired outcome. And that is why results were being uploaded a day after, 2 days after, 3 days after, 4 days after, because they are printing to catch up with the information they have on the BVAS. That's my own theory here. I may be wrong, but that's what I feel like. That is it. You see that woman, thumbprinting. So how is the Supreme Court going to deal with this?
Well, when this is presented to Supreme Court will deal with it. But however, I want us to answer your question by looking at the BVAS, because the Supreme Court is very, very directive about the BVAS. Now, let's see what INEC chairman said about this BVAS machine, about the functionality and the fact that even without a network, that the BVAS does accreditation, take every information without network. So it means that all the information we are talking about now is on that BVAS as we speak, and may not have been corrupted as you speak. Let's first listen to what INEC chairman says about BVAS to understand how BVAS work that is not about network, is about collecting information. Let's take a listen.
In the elections are already complaining, and we had one say the other week that you don't have the capability to transmit the votes once they are voted, to transmit the results electronically.
The machine on election day doesn't rely on the internet to accredit voters. It works offline. Now, when it comes to transmission of results, that's why you need network. But if there's no network in the immediate vicinity, the scanned image of the polling unit level results, which is taken using the BVAS, will be transmitted as soon as the staff move from the polling units to the collection centers. And we have been working with the major telecom companies in Nigeria, and we are satisfied that the number of blind spots can be addressed in the country. And the number of blind spots where you have no network is really small.
Dr. Etel, trust me, INEC is busted. Can you
Yes,
believe me?
I agree
INEC is
with
busted.
I agree with you.
This video, it is very, very clear. It's a BBC interview. And it's clear that BVAS does not use network, both for accreditation and taking those ECA form photos. It only needs network to upload. You understand? So this means that every information that is polling unit level results must be on this BVAS. That is the what I keep pointing to. So I need you to, see if this answers your question, and the fact that INEC is busted and that Supreme Court decision on BVAS has affirmed P2B's position on the election process. He's not challenging the outcome, he's challenging the process. Let me have your bit.
Yeah. No, I think I completely agree with you. We are never in doubt whether P2B's petition was spot on. Do you understand? I'm just trying to say that even in the argument in the court, they need to understand that for INEC to be coming into court and be talking tough, they may have been finding other ways to try to justify their crime, their supposed crime. Because, for instance, if the INEC chairman, according to him here, said that when you walk into where there is network, the information you have will automatically be uploaded. Fine. They told us there was a glitch on 25th February. Are they trying to tell me that the election that I held on 25th February, that all the people, all the presiding officers couldn't have come into a place where there is network by the 26th, which was Sunday, by the 27th, which was Monday? I mean, tell me that place in Nigeria where there is no network, where we cannot travel to where there is network within a few hours. Why is it that 176,000 results were not uploaded, even as we talk now? By the day they declared the result, by the 1st of March, substantial number of results had not been uploaded. Haven't they come into the place of network? My mind tells me that some of the things we see online, when you remember when we are downloading results from IREF, some of them are blurred, some of them are mutilated, is because they are reworking the numbers to match up with what BVAS had captured. Where BVAS had captured, for instance, 1,000 voters and 750 voted for Labour Party, and then 50 maybe voted for PDP and 200 for APC. You saw how they changed it, some of them, and gave Labour Party 75 by cancelling 0 and then giving a party. Okay, that is it. Look at it here. 273 that was given to Labour Party had been changed to 30. And then PDP got 243. They were somewhere working. Look at it. This is the original EC8A form showing 273 where there is no cancellation. So I believe that the reason why they were delaying the upload from Saturday to Sunday to Monday was because they were busy working on these numbers to make sure that the number of the votes they uploaded in favor of APC to give APC the so-called 8 million plus was to make sure that if all the BVAS machine are credited XYZ number, that it will tally. They were busy. You see it there. They are now giving APC 202 and they are now giving Labour Party 00. Do you understand what I mean? This is what they were doing all through Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, until Wednesday morning. That's exactly what you are saying. So you see the manipulations. The original one, Labour Party got 198, and they gave Labour Party 00. Can I see that particular thing again? Can you please publish it again? Let me see. Bring that particular result again, the two results, the very last one. You can see here that APC got 202. And they even forgot to write the 4, to clean the 4 that APC originally, they wrote in Word.
Yeah.
They wrote in Word.
They
4.
just got only 4.
They got only 4. But now from 4, they had gotten in numbers 202. And now, look at it. They still left it there as 4. And you see, Labour Party was supposed to get 198. So my question is, how is the court going to deal with this thing? Are they going to cancel this particular polling unit and say it is mutilated, and because of that, the vote is void? If they do so, it is to the disadvantage of Labour Party. If they uphold it, okay, I mean, we can go on and on and on and on. So the alarm I am raising here is not that the Labour Party does not have a case well established, well presented, but that they need to remember that there is yet other thing that look at 154 here. This is from the polling unit. You see, and if you go there, you see the kind of mutilation. APC got 17. Show me now the one that we saw from IREF. This is from the polling unit. Show me the IREF copy now. Please go back to IREF copy. You see, IREF copy, you can't even see what happened there. Everything is mangled, mutilated, and just messed up, down to 66. So how is the court going to deal with all these things? Because what they are doing here is to manipulate the number to make sure that the BVAS accreditation is not tampered with, but the number of votes allocated to political parties were completely changed to favor the outcome they desire.
I think you made a very, very valid point. But the other I want you to look at is the fact that I think that INEC and APC collaboration, that this very said doesn't need any internet to function. So it just means that in each of these polling units, every information that it has is stored inside, meaning that if it is going to be uploaded, it means it is until they get to where there is network. So with what he has said, it means that they don't need to stay 1 month for these things to upload on themselves. It also means that all the other things that we see in different tables coming out from different places that are different results, and some results of National Assembly showing up should not happen. It also means that some results that are not actual results should not be coming up. Because the only issue we had on the 25th of February is the issue of uploading to the IREV and not actual capturing. I don't know if I'm falling in line with your thoughts.
You're right. The only issue we had is the issue of uploading the results to IREV, especially the presidential, not the National Assembly. All right. But another thing that is by the side, which is important. Go ahead.
Yes.
I said another thing that is by the side, which is important, is because now it is clear the Supreme Court has come to say it boldly. We need BVAS accreditation detail. And then we need the EC8A form, which is this form we are seeing here. It is important that we begin to ask ourselves, if in places something that we know happened, I mean, you saw people that were stabbed, you saw people that were maimed, You saw people, you saw even poll workers, NYSC members shot, and the polling materials they had taken away from them. What it means is that the EC8A form for that polling unit will not be with Labour Party because they were not given. They ran away with it and they went to a place where they manipulated, because that's another one, where they went and then created a new result entirely. How will the court recognize and mediate over such kind of infraction?
Okay, my take on this, Dr. Tell, is that from the Supreme Court's verdict of yesterday, what he's saying is clear. BVAS, the record in the BVAS machine that contains the accredited voters or a certified true copy of the INEC certificate is good to go. But on that 25th, this BVAS machine that we said malfunctioned only malfunctioned to the extent of network, that is to upload. We did not hear of BVAS not accrediting voters on that very day.
Of course.
We did not hear that the BVAS on its own was not able to capture the EC8A forms. We did not hear any of those. The only thing that we hear about is that the presidential was unable to upload. Some of the National Assembly.
Into the last the part where you say did not capture EC8A form. Are you saying you did not see, didn't we see lots of places where ballot papers were scattered in the middle of election? They came, the thugs came, they scattered the ballot box, the polling unit area. Are we saying that we did not see where police van came, police van, government vehicle came, and some boys, some thugs went, carried the polling, the ballot box, the red ballot box, which is the presidential, before it was even open and vote counted, and they took it into the van, and the van took it to an unknown destination. It was over the internet.
That is not before the Supreme Court. What I was bringing to you is the BVAS issue that is before the Supreme Court. And yes, the Supreme Court is of the opinion, and they hold that it is the record in that BVAS machine that they are going to deal with in one instance. So I'm not bringing it to you that for the places where the stuffing of ballot boxes you talked about happened, those infractions that happened outside of the polling units is not within the context of these very records on this BVAS machine. So I am talking about the content of the BVAS machine by this judgment of the Supreme Court. So it simply tells me that except INEC had manipulated the record of the BVAS on what transpired on that very February 25th, it means the records must be there. These records must include the number of accredited voters, should be on the BVAS. The EC8 forms should be on the BVAS. Supreme Court on this matter made it clear that even your transmission to the other back end is really not important to them because they said it could be manipulated. So what they are talking about here is that it is that very content of the BVAS that is more authentic than where it is transmitted to. So that's why I'm saying if the Yakubu, the chairman of INEC, said that BVAS does not use internet for accreditation, it does not use internet to catch the picture, the photo of the form, it means that each BVAS used on February 25, 2023 contains the exact things it should contain, except it has been manipulated. Recall they said that they want to reconfigure the BVAS. So I don't know if their reconfiguration of that very BVAS has tainted the evidence that that thing had on that very day. What's your take on that?
I agree with you. To be honest, you remember there was a question a data analyst we brought here one day asked, and I'm still going to ask the same question, at least based on my little knowledge from computer science. The BVAS, is it a read-only memory kind of thing, whereby information you put in it can only be read but not modified? If that is the case, then there is hope here. Why I'm saying so is because, I mean, what Mahmoud said is a very simple thing. If you use your phone to snap my picture and send it to yourself when there is no network via WhatsApp, it's not going to show delivered. But the moment you come into a network area, it leaves your phone. Even if I am not in a network area and you are in a network area and you send it, it will not deliver on my phone. The moment I come into the network area, it drops on my phone. And that is it. You don't have the capability to modify it once you have sent it. If that is the case, then we have hope. But the question, yes, and it is true that if that is the case, INEC are in a big trouble, because really accreditation went, and I also know that a very big substantial part of the votes were uploaded. But I am told, and you and I know, that there are certain parts of the country where votes were done in some people's garage. Votes were done in some people's garage, and they used it to to declare the results. And those results that were declared made me begin to wonder, is it possible? Let me put it, if I am a Supreme Court judge, I'm going to ask myself a question. Information that is on BVAS accreditation is there, because there wouldn't have actually been one person casting vote without accreditation. That is understandable. But the result that is uploaded to the IREV, to be honest, what I'm trying to say here is that the IREV result is now in question. The political parties need to come with their own copy of the EC8A form, because the ones uploaded on Sunday, on Monday, on Tuesday are the ones INEC and APC have reworked to match up with the number they are declaring, as the case may be. But like Atiku Abubakar said, if they appear in court with their own EC8A form and it matches with what BVAS had, and Labour Party appears with their own, we will begin to know exactly what was the result that was published.
See, Dr. Etel, there's something I stated when we started this. What the Supreme Court talked about BVAS. It is my firm belief that Supreme Court is expecting that BVAS, as in that machine, should hold the information that is required. Let me read this once again so that you understand what I'm saying. He said, delivering judgment on Yetola's appeal, Emmanuel Ajim, who read the lead judgment, said the former governor and his party failed to tender relevant materials, such as the BVAS, from the 744 polling units in the state. He did not say report from BVAS. He said relevant materials such as the BVAS. Second, he says INEC voters register or Form EC8A form showing the number of votes cast at each unit. It went further to say that it is glaring that the appellant did not provide in evidence any BVAS, once again they are repeating, any BVAS, but sought to prove overvoting by means of a report of examination of INEC's database or back-end server. What this thing tells me here is that even when you get certified true copies of these informations, that it is not enough, that you need to provide BVAS and what happened on that. They said that the court held that the information from the BVAS rely on that is at the back-end server may not be accurate because the BVAS might fail to transmit records for several reasons, including poor internet connection, loss of battery power, failure of INEC officials to properly press the submit button. In other words, they are trying to say that they need the BVAS. Without the BVAS, it won't go. It will work.
But Mr. Kanu, to ask a question, this thing where we dey talk say the courts might have to use the information where they for the BVAS to make their affirmation or nullification. What of cases where we saw on that election day where some INEC officials refused to upload results, or they refused to scan those from ECTAs and post them? Like, what then will happen when they bring the BVAS and there is actually no information in them? Like, how sure are we that every polling unit where election took place, that the polling unit results was taken there and was uploaded in the BVAS?
To answer your question, on the 25th of February, there was no issue of accreditation that BVAS does. If there is, it's very minor, minimal. There is no issue of scanning of the forms. There was no issue on that. There was no issue even on uploading of results on National Assembly election. Are you getting my point? What I'm trying to say here is that the BVAS used on that very day was functional. It contains this information, and Supreme Court by this very judgment is saying we are working with what BVAS have. That is why I'm saying that INEC is busted, because that information should be on that BVAS. That is my position. Dr. Etel.
There has never been a time when they don't know that they're just grandstanding, to be honest. But if you go to IREV and click on the result of the elections, presidential, there are two ways to get access to the EC8A form results. The other one is where you download. The other one is where you see the quick view. On the quick view window, if you click on the quick view, you will see the result. And you see the timestamp of when it was uploaded. Majority of the results were uploaded on 27th, which is Monday. 28th, which is Tuesday. But the INEC chairman told us that even if they snapped the results and there was no network, the moment they step into a network active area, the equipment will automatically upload. Just like if you send me a message in the aircraft where there is no internet, the moment you land at Abuja airport, as soon as the network comes, you begin to see your messages flying. Is it not true? So the question is, where did those the BVAS that uploaded the results on 27, where did they keep it since 25th? They have not gotten into a network area all through 26th.
Dr. Ter, I think you are still missing my point about this INEC being busted. You keep talking about uploading. You're talking about uploading. is telling, the Supreme Court here is telling you that even if you upload that very something, that is the result, that even if you send it there, that it could be manipulated. That's what the judgment is saying. They said that they are working with what is hard on the BVAS. So, whether you have transmitted it,
they're uploading, is it not BVAS that they used to upload? Is it not the content of the BVAS that they uploaded?
Good. Yes.
I have a very strong reservation that the only thing the BVAS will do, the only information BVAS is going to provide that is reliable is accreditation. What will prove the vote is the physical copy of the EC8A form that the parties who have petitioned will bring. Because the EC8A form that is uploaded is a junk.
Okay, now let me recap this, because you keep going back to uploading. There is something that Supreme Court said about uploading of this of this information. Let me quickly check. Okay. Now, the court held that the information, okay, just a moment. Okay, I've seen it. The Supreme Court further said that no law requires presiding officers to transmit the number of accredited voters or accreditation of the polls to the database or back-end server of INEC. This is the Supreme Court talking. Now, I'm trying to tell you that INEC is busted, their game is up, because Supreme Court is trying to tell you, even if you transmit these things that you are talking about, first it says that no law, let me read it. The court further said that no law requires presiding officers to transmit the number of accredited voters or accreditation of the polls to the database or back end. So what this thing is trying to tell you is that the court's mind and position is totally on what is hard on the BVAS. It means that if you are doing accreditation, BVAS has that information. Transmitting it is another thing altogether. Are you getting my point? So if your position is just they do not transmit it, or what the Supreme Court is saying that even when they transmit it, that there can be wrong in the transmission. Something may have tampered or something. They're just saying that that machine, that BVAS machine, must have stored this information. Why I say INEC is busted is if INEC reconfigured this BVAS and it did not have, this BVAS doesn't have these informations, we're in for a new election.
Perfectly. I agree 100% with you, because if they reconfigured the BVAS, remember the court had mandated them to provide a certified true copy of the content of the BVAS. I don't know if they complied, because they keep saying go to state, go to local government. If they didn't do it, then there is a problem. If they did it, then, like we said, they are busted.
They are. Again, if you look at the results that you agree with the Supreme Court, that what we are seeing on IRF that is manipulated is what Supreme Court is actually saying, because they said that let me come. Okay, they said information at the back end server may not be accurate because the BVAS might fail to transmit record for several reasons and all of that. So it means that the Supreme Court on its wisdom have seen that even some of these things that you explained on the EC form that are exchanged, they are saying these things can happen, you understand? But if you go to the timeline on the BVAS machine, if it is tampered with, it must show. You get my point? So, I think finally, these very forms that are on the IREV, we can see that even Supreme Court has decided to agree with our position that there's a probability, a reasonable probability, that those things would have been tampered, and that's why Supreme Court is focusing more on what happened on that day with the BVAS, meaning that you must present the BVAS, you understand? And that very BVAS information, you see eight forms that were captured must be inside that very BVAS. So, INEC, the ball has started rolling. Mr. Dr. Tell your final words, because our time is up.
My final words really is INEC, by this Supreme Court precedent in Oyetola versus Adeleke, they have a tall order. And indeed, if the Supreme Court can stand by this kind of decision, which is an expected decision, we might just have a leeway to a clean to a clean path to democracy. Let the judiciary remember once again that if they endorse illegality, they are opening the door for a perpetuation of illegality in Nigerian democratic process. But if they can stand their ground and use the vote of their judgment to stand by what is written in our constitution and other extant laws like the Electoral Act, the confidence level of Nigerians will shoot up. Judiciary would have saved themselves. The politicians will be deterred from doing anything obnoxious or unconstitutional, because they know that the courts will not tolerate them. That's where I will end today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Telbert. And for our viewers, as you can see, my face is all beaming, meaning that I am very happy today. Some of you might disagree with what we have said previously on our shows, but today, if you want to see what the Supreme Court has said about the judgment on Oyetola and Adeleke, to justify what we are discussing, the particular outcome of this election petition tribunal, I will end like this. In quotes from the judgment of the Supreme Court, and I will quote, "In light of the foregoing, I hold," that is the justices talking now, "I hold that it is a record in the BVAS machine of the accredited voters, or a certified true copy of an INEC certificate of that record for each polling unit that can prove the number of accredited voters in a polling unit on the day of election, and nothing else." INEC is busted. Thank you very much for today. Peace. Over to you.
When we tell una say this show na hope alive, and our hope dey alive, we know wetin we dey talk, because this Adeleke and Oyetola matter now don give us hope say the Supreme Court, they know wetin they do, they know what is right, and they go do wetin dey right, because they don use this BVAS matter take judge these people case, and we dey hope say, we dey believe say na this same method they go take judge our principal case wey dey for court. Special thanks to Dr. Telbert wey join us today, and special thanks to una wey be our viewers wey still stand out with us from the beginning to the end. We dey say make God bless all of una. And for people wey never subscribe to our channel, abeg make una help us subscribe to the channel and turn on your notification button, so anytime wey we drop video, you go see am sharp sharp. And if you know say you never follow us for other social media platforms, we still there for Obidati Family TV. For easy access, you fit go for under this video, the description, you go see our link there. Just click anywhere where you want enter, Facebook or Twitter or anywhere at all, e there. And for people who still want help us, encouragement, anyhow where you want take encourage us, make we dey continue this journey where we dey do so. You fit still touch light waiting, they will show you for screen now, and help us anywhere where you can. And if you still want our Cash App or our dollar account, it's still there for the description under this video. Just click that button there and everything you go see and for there. We go still see una tomorrow. Thank you for staying with us. Una bye bye.
In the elections are already complaining, and we had one say the other week that you don't have the capability to transmit the votes once they are voted, to transmit the results electronically.
The machine on election day doesn't rely on the internet to accredit voters. It works offline. Now, when it comes to transmission of results, that's why you need network. But if there's no network in the immediate vicinity, the scanned image of the polling unit level results, which is taken using the BVAS, will be transmitted as soon as the staff move from the polling units to the collection centers. And we have been working with the major telecom companies in Nigeria, and we are satisfied that the number of blind spots can be addressed in the country, and the number of blind spots where you have no network is really